The reason you're so frustrated with your beautician is not your fault. We have too many inexperienced therapists employed by too many corporate salons, and this is actually where the problem lies. The diploma of beauty is absolute rubbish. There is no real regulation from the industry. Politicians don't care. They just want to be seen to be creating jobs and helping the tertiary sector churn out graduates. You do not need another serum or another beautician. You just need a skin expert. Welcome to the Holistic Skin Guru, where what's on the surface is just as important as what's underneath. I'm your host, Aamena. Let's dive deep into the world of holistic skincare. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Holistic Skin Guru. Today, we're going to talk about how you do not need another serum or another beautician. You just need a skin expert. Now, the reason you're so frustrated with your beautician is not your fault. For choosing the wrong salon, the real reason is actually something we only really discuss within the beauty industry. You see, we have too many inexperienced therapists employed by too many corporate salons, and this is actually where the problem lies. So what is a corporate salon? A corporate salon is a large chain or group of clinics or salons or spas owned by a corporate entity instead of a salon owned by a qualified skin therapist leading a team of other therapists. Now, why is this problematic? Well, corporates, generally speaking, are looking at numbers in glassy towers and don't really have that relationship built with you as the person on the other end receiving the treatment. They train their therapists in bulk. They are equipping their therapists with lots and lots of tools to help them sell. And so a lot of the times you're not the best interest for them. They're always looking at the best interest of themselves, and they're running their business to the best of their ability. Now, what the industry also doesn't want you to know is that the diploma of beauty is absolute rubbish. There is no real regulation from the industry, and the schools are not listening to the industry. They churn out high numbers of graduates with subpar training that need to learn basics like a brow shape as soon as they're employed. I can tell you stories of people that I've employed who've come out of this system and don't even know how to wax a leg or an arm or an underarm, and we've got to teach them the basics. So this is frustrating for salon owners like myself. It's frustrating for the entire industry. So the entire system seems to be broken somewhat, with no one really doing anything to change it because politicians don't care. They just want to be seen to be creating jobs and helping the tertiary sector churn out graduates. And the tertiary sector loves the fact that they're being backed by the government, and they just churn out large numbers of graduates with no real care taken to ensure that these people are, for one, in the right industry, that they're people persons, so that, they love people, because that's what the industry we're in. We have to love people. And they're not making sure that these people are skilled enough with the necessary tools to be able to come into a working environment and work autonomously with clients. So their knowledge and their skill base is actually quite low, and we have to spend a lot of time with graduates to teach them and give them the skills that they need to be able to service clients by themselves. So it takes at least 2 to 3 years after graduating before they can actually be left alone. Now, the problem I have is not upskilling graduates. The problem I have is that these graduates are almost being encouraged from a tertiary level to go out and open businesses. And so we have an entire industry, especially after COVID, where little home salons, and I've got nothing against home salons, but little home salons have opened by graduates who have no experience. And they go out and they take out loans, or they get loans from their families, and they buy expensive equipment like HIFU machines, laser machines, and then they get loose on the public. So this is the problem that I have with this industry. It is unregulated. We don't have a united body to oversee the training and the development, which then leaves it into the hands of the employer to upskill and teach people in order to be able to provide quality treatments. So when they bypass the first few years of of their training within the industry and going straight into their own home businesses, they're actually putting their clients at risk because they don't have sufficient knowledge to be able to work the machines that they've invested in. And a lot of times we see really cheap treatments out there. And then we actually in our clinics see people coming back to us saying, well, I went somewhere, the girl didn't know what she was doing, she burnt me, she hurt me, and all these other issues arise. So this is the issue that we have. Large amounts of students are pushed out of schools with little to no real skin knowledge. They need at least the 2 years of experience within the industry before they can be left alone with a client to do full skin consultations. And even then, they require monitoring and training, which they just do not receive from busy corporate salons. So how do you find a clinic or a salon that suits your requirements? Understanding what you're trying to achieve with your skin and deciding on that first is a starting point. Check out my skin school videos about what to know about your skin before making decisions about treatments. So in short, look for a clinic that is privately owned with at least the owner who is an esthetician or skin expert who nurtures her team and continuously develops them. In other words, do your homework before you hand over your hard-earned cash and make sure you understand the value of the treatment you receive and what that means to your unique circumstance. Okay, so one of the biggest issues that we see coming into our clinic where people are going and seeing therapists who are not highly skilled or maybe just graduated and working out of their own homes or working for a corporate salon and haven't had enough training. A lot of times we see people who've come in who have been burnt by laser machines because the person that operated on them didn't get adequate training on that particular equipment. And something that I've seen from the time I started in this industry is a lot of women coming in with really, really bad brows. And the reason for that is that they go to therapists who have had very little training in this area. I mean, a diploma qualified therapist, I'm not even talking about beauticians, I'm talking about diploma qualified therapists who've spent one entire year training in this industry, only get about half a day on how to shape a brow. And that is not enough time for them unless they already have some sort of experience from doing, friends' brows or their own brows or their family's brows, or have continuously practiced shaping brows. A lot of them have no idea. So when I hire graduates, I would never put them in a room with a client by themselves straight off the bat because I never know what they're going to do. And being a brow expert myself, being a brow master, I'm very, very specific about how a client's brows are addressed. I mean, put aside mapping and all those sort of things, if you don't understand the basics of brow shaping, you're going to mess the client's brows up. And the biggest problem with therapists is that they stand behind the client and that's how they're shaping your brows. I don't know about you, but I cannot shape my brows upside down. So we train completely differently. As brow specialists, we make sure that we look at your brow from all perspectives and we're able to map that brow to give you the best shape possible. And instead of taking away, we're looking at how much we can keep. So those are probably the two things that we see most of in our industry: bad brows coming from inexperienced therapists and people getting burnt from equipment where unskilled therapists are using equipment. This is Aamena with the Holistic Skin Guru. Join us on our podcast. Don't forget to hit subscribe and we'll see you on the next podcast. Thank you for joining me on Holistic Skin Guru. If this episode has helped you get one step closer to achieving your skin goals, I'd love your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget to subscribe on your favorite platform too. If you've got any questions about your skin, I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me at Holistic Skin Guru on all platforms. Don't forget, as a listener, you can get 10% off all treatments at our SkinFit New Farm Clinic in Brisbane. Simply pop the word podcast in your booking online or mention it on the phone when you book.